Victoria, a girl of only 17, looked down at the handwritten letter clutched in her gentle hands, sighing softly. "Dear Miss Blue," the letter read, golden cursive decorating the paper, "we are delighted to inform you that you have been accepted as a maid for the Balorian family manor. Your duties shall be explained in depth to you per your arrival. You will be greeted at the front gate in 2 days' time. Arrive promptly at 5 a.m. As stated in the job description, this will be a live-in position with a 2-week trial. However, clothes will be provided for you whilst you're on the premises. I look forward to working with you. Sincerely, Cornelius Jamestone, head butler." Another sigh, much louder this time. In truth, she had been hoping to be accepted for a more comfortable job, but she would take what she could get. Swiping her moosey brown hair away from her face, she reached for the envelope, weighed down by the broken wax seal that had held it shut. It reminded her of an invitation for a murder mystery event, more so than a job notification. Though she had to admit, this job was better paying than some of the other ones that she had applied for, and not having to pay rent or bills would be a godsend after being financially cut off from her family, so she couldn't truly complain. All she had to do now is try it out for 2 weeks. Really, how hard could it be? Sitting in the taxi, she twiddled the white buttons of her shirt, fearing that she had overdressed for the position. But such thoughts seemed silly after pulling up to the gate, the large manor looming over the car, depriving the road and the front gardens of any sunlight. Not that there was much in such early morning hours, leaving every surface damp and mossy. She saw the figure of the man who was supposed to greet her standing outside the front gate, backed by the steel bars that encased the property, hands folded behind his back. His uniform decorated with silver chains and faint patterns, illuminated by a blue lantern that hung overhead, almost ghostly in demeanor. He was much younger than she expected, slick blonde hair framing his red-tinted cheeks, perhaps in his early 20s. "Good morning, Miss Blue. I hope your journey was pleasant." Yes, thank you," she replied, taken aback by the strange atmosphere. Gasping at the cold as she stepped out of the warm taxi, she quickly hushed herself, attempting to retain a professional attitude despite the frost that bit her heels, reaching for the forked leather case that held her belongings. "This way, please," the man spoke again, with a silky smooth voice that seemed to mingle with the wind. "Of course." They walked in silence towards the large wooden door of the manor, the sound of shoes clicking on old cobble pavement the only thing to keep Victoria's nervousness at bay, concentrating on the repeating sound as they brushed through the darkness. It was a surprising sight to see, as the doors creaked open, slamming against the wooden beams that donned the walls to reveal a barren hall, coated in a thick layer of dust, the draperies tattered and littering the walls, the floor coated in the corpses of decaying bugs and rodents, half of the horrors hidden by the grime. Her heart sunk into her chest. She signed up to clean this place, didn't she? As you can see, this place is in somewhat of a disarray, and my efforts are currently focused on ensuring that the manor does not collapse and maintaining its exterior. You will find that electronical devices do not work here, so should you will need to locate the gardener's quarters, whom of which possess a working phone. "So, where will I be staying?" she asked, teeth gritted in disbelief. "Right this way, Miss Blue." She was led through the dilapidated hallways, some even worse than the entrance hall, room after room of ancient filth, leaving footprints imprinted in the dirt as though it were snow, each room illuminated by the same glowing blue lanterns she had seen outside, before coming to a stop at a hallway that had recently been poorly cleaned. "This was once where the maids would stay. I tried to clean it in between my busy schedule. This room is yours," he told her, gesturing towards the door at the very end. "Now, for your duties, you will be given a list of top priority rooms, which need cleaning first. There will be some tasks that you will need to do daily in each room after cleaning, but it shouldn't take too long. There's also a list of rules that you'll need to follow to the letter. in your room. You will find a map of the premises as well as the location of the cleaning supplies. Please take this day to organize your own room and familiarize yourself with the building. If you see any faults within the building's structure, please inform me. Any questions?" Victoria shook her head. "No." "Thank you." "Well then, I'll leave you be for now." He handed her a rusted silver key and began walking down the corridor out of sight. She opened the door, cringing at the loud shriek that emanated from the hinges, stepping inside to find a relatively average room. All of the furniture was clearly old, but had been well maintained. She gently walked over to the bed, staring at the simple spirals of wood that protruded from the frame, setting down her case atop the fresh sheets. Opening the wardrobe, she found clothes already waiting for her, the fabrics dangling from wire hangers. They reminded her of something you would see in a museum rather than a modern-day wardrobe, with fluttery nightgowns and a uniform that came straight out of the Victorian times. She let her eyes flicker across the clothing before glancing away, eyes landing on a piece of folded paper on the nearby desk. Opening it, the lists the butler had mentioned laid before her. The tasks fairly standard and nothing to cause alarm, though some of the rules did strike her as strange. Rule 1, the list read, 10 in total. Do not allow the residents of the house to see you in clothing other than the outfits provided. Rule 2, if you hear the cries of a child in the third eastern hallway, wind up the music box on the mantel, otherwise ignoring them. Rule 3, if you see a woman with a disfigured face, do not answer any of her questions. Rule 4, do not venture into the garden at night. Rule 5, if someone knocks on your door from 11 p.m. to 1 a.m., do not answer it, regardless of the circumstances. Rule 6, sexual or romantic of the residence is strictly prohibited. Rule 7, if you find a piece of blue paper with instructions on it, follow those instructions immediately. Rule 8, never enter any room with a silver handle. Rule 9, do not enter the 5th floor. You may ascend the stairs to the floor above. Rule 10, if you smell flowers inside the manor, leave immediately and wait in the gardener's quarters until told to go back. Victoria managed to find reason for these rules, though some of the reason was flimsy at best and purely speculation. She was confident that this trial would go smoothly. Unbeknownst to her, it was going to be a very, very eventful few weeks.